So for most intents and purposes, for the majority of my life, have been a very good boy. I've never smoked anything. I've never had an illegal drug. I've never been drunk. I haven't had a sip of alcohol since a half a wine cooler teenage binge. And what's the other one I forgot? I don't know. Oh yeah, I don't own a cell phone. It's not a crime yet, but it will be. But don't judge. I'm not square or prude or Jehovah's Witness or narc. It's just how things work for me. To each his own. I'm not going to look down my nose at you. But one fine summer happy evening in 1992-ish, I think I just graduated from high school. I was hanging out with my friend Mike, and we were at my house just doing whatever, and it was getting late, and he said, I should probably get home. I'm like, all right. He only lived 4 blocks away, but he didn't want to walk, so he said, can I have a ride? I said, sure. So I hop in my car, and we're going down my street, and we get about halfway down my street, and there's 3 or 4 garbage bags in the middle of the road for no reason. I swerved around and avoided them. Thought it was kind of strange, but the next day was trash day. Just figured somebody was having a curb problem. Got to the end of my street where there were more trash bags impeding the car from going anywhere, so we had to stop, and Mike said, I'll just get out and put them back on the curb, like any good boy would. The opposite of criminal intent, I believe that's a virtuous intent, right? So he gets out and puts the trash from the street on the curb, removes it from the street. We take a right turn, go a couple more blocks, past at least one more set of trash bags in the street. Somebody was being a dick. We get to his house, I drop him off. I go the exact same route back to my house, but don't touch any of the bags, and go back to my house. It's getting late, it's about midnight by this time. I was having a snack or something, and hear a soft knock on the door. We have a fully functional velvet doorbell. I'm not sure what's going on. I thought maybe Mike coming back because he forgot something. Didn't want to wake my parents who were fast asleep. But no, it was 2 policemen at the door. And they wouldn't tell me why we were there until I had to go wake up my dad, who sleeps in the nude. Which I had unfortunately discovered years earlier, to my dismay. And also, he wakes up at the crack of dawn, he goes to bed at like 9 o'clock, so he's bound to be cranky and naked. So I had So anyway, I had to lean into the bedroom and I said, and I hear this, what? I said, the cops are here. And then he wakes up real quick. He's like, what? I said, yeah, the cops are here. I don't know why, but they want to talk to you. They want to tell me why they're here. He's like, all right. So a minute later, he does emerge, thankfully fully clothed, and comes up the door, and he's like, what's going on? And the officer proceeds to tell us, we got a call from an eyewitness that said there was a person coming out of that vehicle who put trash from the curb in the street, drove away, and he later saw that same car. I'm not from New Jersey, I'm just giving that little vibe to you. And then drive the car back in front of his house and then enter the house. And he basically just looks at me and is accusing me of putting trash in the street. And I'm like, how? I said, no. First of all, how could I even drive back home if I was putting trash in the street? Second of all, I didn't put the trash in the street, dude. I don't know what to say. My friend got out and we put the trash back on the curb. That's a good deed, right? I don't think you should be arrested for that. And he said, well, who was with you? And I said, my friend Mike. Here's his address. Here's his phone number. Go talk to him. And he said, well, the person who called is somebody I've known for 12 years, and he wouldn't lie to me, and I have no reason not to believe him. And I'm like, sorry. Didn't do it. No criminal intent there whatsoever. And then starts grilling me. He seems annoyed that I didn't confess to this crime. Apparently, there's a lot of crime going on in my city. They're patrolling the streets for trash. And he starts grilling me with these rapid-fire questions like, well, did you see anybody else out there? I said, no. What do they look like? Did you see any cars? Which way were they going? I'm like, I don't know, Taurus, that way. And then my dad, I could feel my dad staring at me because I had sort of semi-recently done something really stupid that eventually involved the police. Totally non-criminal intent there, just teenage idiocy. But I think he was like checking for holes in my story, like some kind of human polygraph. But I think he believed me because by the time I was talking, he said to the cops, look, can you just go talk to Mike? And they're like, oh, we will. And then he points to me in the face and says, don't do it again. And I'm like, 10-4, Opie. Peace out. And so they leave, and then my dad starts telling me the story. He says, I recognize one of those policemen. And he starts telling me the story of something that happened like 5 years ago, and I remember it as he's telling me. About 2 o'clock in the morning, we got a phone call. I heard my dad wake up, answer the phone, sound really pissed, go in the kitchen, rumble around in the cabinet, and then leave in the car, and have no idea where he went. And forgot to ask him about it the next day. It turns out he got a call from the local police, including one of the ones at the door, because they had found a big pile of loose trash in the middle of the street downtown. My mom used to own a clothing store downtown, and somebody had overturned her dumpster in the middle of a big downtown square, and found her name on it, called her house, told my dad to bring trash bags, walked up the street, and watched him pick it up. He was pissed, but fully clothed once again. And so he told me that story, and to this day, I think that's why I'm such an adamant recycler. So beware of the trash police and go green!